Tonight's message is going to hit us close to home. Fellowship home, family home, brothers and sisters home, husbands and wives home, Yahusha's body home. True friendship. This is some very fresh bread. It's only a couple of hours old, this one. Christopher and Victoria wrote this and shot it to me. And we're going to present it tonight because I think Yahusha wants us to know it. Wants us all to know what this is about. True friendship. Let's look at what true friendship is. We all have our understandings of what a friend is, what friendship is out in the world. Looking at what a true friendship in the body today entails, the body of Yahusha. What is a true friendship? What David and Jonathan experienced as men is the highest form of friendship. You remember King David and Saul's son Jonathan. What David and Jonathan experienced as men is the highest form of friendship. What Yahusha gave his disciples, that he laid down his life for his friends, this is the highest form of spiritual friendship and love that is possible in life. Yahusha is the epitome, the example of what a friend is, isn't he? He laid down his life for someone else. These types of relationships should be manifesting within your fellowships. A fervent, that means hot, passionate, a fervent, loving relationship full of kindness and well-being for each other with no barriers. What would you think today if you saw two men lounging together at the supper? Gay, as you guys would say. That's what you guys would say, isn't it? Far from it. It's Yahusha. That's how he felt. That's that love that you can have. Brothers and sisters, brothers to brothers, sisters to sisters. You can have that relationship. It's love. John was resting on Yahusha's breast. These types of relationships should be manifesting within your fellowships. Should be. A fervent, loving relationship full of kindness and well-being for each other with no barriers. Remember, we're diving into the Word tonight to shine a mirror. That's why we don't like going to the Word, isn't it? Some of us. The Word is a mirror. You look in it, and if you don't like what you see, you change. Kindness and well-being for each other with no barriers. This is the sign that Yahusha is among you. What's the sign that Yahusha is among you? Loving relationships full of kindness and well-being for others. Not yourself. Others. This is the sign that Yahusha is among you. So let's gauge how much Yahusha is actually among our fellowship. He's not here. But is he here in fullness? Based on the love that we see or that we don't see among us a lot of the week? They will know you by the love you have for one another, the scripture says. It won't be your doctrines, it won't be your message, it won't be this or that. They will know you by the love you have for one another. They'll be able to feel something from you. A tenderness, a concern. And likewise, out there, people can say, I love you, whether they're parents, relatives, family, whatever. They can say they love you, and in a worldly way, they might just do. But you don't feel it the same concern, the same tenderness, do you? Because real love comes from Yahusha. So this is the sign that Yahusha is among you. They'll know you by the love you have one for another. Achieving this goal doesn't just come naturally. Achieving this goal takes a lot of personal discipline and understanding for others by putting off your life for the benefit of others. Putting off your life for the benefit of others. Putting off your life, your way, your day-to-day plans and schemes and desires to help somebody else, to think about somebody else. Are you seeing this happening in our fellowship? How much? Let's look at a few definitions. True friends are usually those who offer you support, improve your quality of life. You wouldn't have friends if they didn't improve your quality of life in some way, would they? Promote self-confidence, provide honesty and unconditional love, and help you progress mentally. It often takes time and effort to foster deep, healthy friendships. We've all had friends before, we know that, don't we? That's just a worldly definition of what a friendship is. Understand that? In both Testaments, the ideas of friend and friendship involve three components: association with somebody, you've got to be associated first, loyalty, and affection. There are also three levels of meaning. You can have like friendship as association only, like we're just associates, we don't really, not that close. Friendship as association plus loyalty, standing by somebody. And friendship as association plus loyalty plus affection. Standing by somebody no matter what. Back in my youth, when my parents were off their face at my behaviour, I had a friend, and he told me he would stand by me no matter what I did, or what I said or what I did. He wouldn't turn against me. 30 years ago. My parents and friends used to complain to him, "Look what Mark's doing now." And yeah, he'd chat to me about stuff, but he never double-crossed me. Never went against me. Always stood in my corner to back me up. That's what a friendship is. Yeah? Do you want to know how much trouble I've been in my whole life because of that friendship? A lot. Do I care? Because it's from Yahusha. And I'm trying to be that sort of person myself. But as it says up here, it takes a lot of personal discipline and understanding to put yourself off for somebody else. Time and energy for somebody else. Would you be willing to put yourself off for another person? No matter what happens, be in their corner no matter what? Back them up? Help them? Have affection? Tender loving kindness between man and man, female and female. What is Acts 17:28? It says, "In him we live," Yahusha, "in him we live and move and have our being." In him we live, move and have our being. It's all in him. If he changed his mind, we would just frackle up. As some of your own poets have even said, "For we are indeed his offspring," like children. We are his children. So without him, we're nothing. Yahusha wants us. Think about this. In your day, wherever you live, whatever state or territory you live in, out there, whatever country you live in, Yahusha wants you. He befriends us first, as you make friends with anybody. He befriends us first, calls us his friends, and has signified his friendship with us through his atoning sacrifice. If he didn't want to be close to you, why would he save you from death, destruction? Why would he hang on the torture stake when there's people down there spitting on his feet? Come on, you reckon you can heal people? Get off that stake. You think you're so good? How tempting would it be just to go and destroy them all, like you see in the movies? Just surge power out of you and wipe them all out, those filthy mockers, all of them. But he went there. That's how he conquered death, like a servant, humbly. So Yahusha wants us. He befriends us first, calls us his friends. He signified his friendship with us through atoning sacrifice. So it is certainly scriptural to call Yahusha our friend, isn't it? Because he firstly calls us his friends and invites us to call him our friend. He does that. So we're allowed to call him friends. Most people aren't comfortable calling Yahusha his friend because he's their master, or he's their father in heaven, or he's their Elohim. He's too powerful and mighty to be just your friend, isn't he? That's what they think. But Yahusha says, "I don't call you servants, I call you friends," because a servant doesn't know what his master's doing. But you do. I tell you everything I'm doing. Let's have a look. Read carefully John 15. It is a guide to knowing how to start entering into the behaviour of true and real friendship. That's what the scripture tells us, how to be a real friend, how to enter into true friendship with Yahusha. He says, I am the true vine. We should have sung this song tonight, shouldn't we? I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. Every branch in me that bears fruit, he takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, he prunes so that it bears more fruit. You understand that? Every branch that's in me that bears no fruit, what does he do? Takes it away. Cuts it off. So if you dig your heels in and go, no, not doing that, no, not doing that, he'll put up with you for a while and then he'll just cut you off. I've seen a lot of people get cut off over the last 20 years. We haven't cut them off. They cut themselves off. But who's really doing it? Who's the master pruner? He won't allow his people to be treated a certain way for a certain amount of time. And then he goes, that's enough. You can have a break now. You are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. The word we've been given makes us clean. Abide in me and I in you. As the branch is unable to bear fruit of itself unless it remains in the vine, so neither you, unless you remain in me. Nothing we do, even the things that we think are good out there, nothing is good unless it's in him. As a branch is unable to bear fruit of itself unless it remains in the vine, so neither are you unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He who remains in me and I in him, he bears much fruit. What's the fruit? Anybody know what yes, behaviour. Good one, Pina. He who remains in me and I in him, he bears fruit. The behaviour changes. Remember the fruit of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, trustworthiness, gentleness, self-control. Those fruits start emanating and growing in us if we stay in him. If we just come into him and get immersed and then bugger off, do the fruits grow? So, if anyone does not remain in me, I missed a bit. He who remains in me and I in him, he bears much fruit. Because without me, you are able to do nothing. Without Yahusha, you can't do anything good. If anything does not remain in me, he is thrown away as a branch and dries up. And they gather them and throw them into the fire, and they are burned. Do you want to be thrown in the fire and burned when he comes back? Frackled up, cease to exist? Or do you want to see the new world that's coming? The new eternal heavens and earth that are going to be formed after Yahusha returns. Everything that he said is going to happen in the last days has already happened, and it's happening and it's getting worse. So according to Scripture, he could come back at any time. I know I've been telling you that since you were babies, but it's happening. So we've got to get ready, haven't we? Is there any point putting any stock in what the world's doing? Is it going to be frackled up? If you remain in me and my words remain in you, you can ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. How about that? If you're in his word and his word is in you and you're living in this supernatural relationship with him, ask anything you want and he'll give it to you. Because obviously if you're operating in his supernatural, you'll only be asking things that you'd be asking of him anyway, wouldn't you? He'll watch them happen. Not in your time. This is my Father. In this, my Father is esteemed, that you bear much fruit, and you shall be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, I've also loved you. Remain in my love. Does that mean there's a Father and a Son? It's talking a lot about a Father and a Son. Does that mean there's two? Or are we looking at images? Images. As the Father has loved me, I've also loved you. Remain in my love. Remain in my love. Don't step out of it. If you guard my commands, you shall stay in my love, even as I have guarded my Father's commands and remained in his love. He never broke any of these commandments back here because they're him. He is the living Torah, the living word himself. That's why he was able to, as Elohim, take all these words, summarize them, and give new instructions, wasn't he? If you guard my commands, you will stay in my love, even as I have guarded my Father's commands and remained in his love. These words I have spoken to you so that my joy might be in you. His what? Joy. Do you know what joy looks like? Happiness. Gauge how many minutes and hours of the day you feel happy. And then gauge how many of those don't involve a screen. And see how happy you feel. Or some other prop, medication, anything else people use. These words I've spoken to you that my joy might be in you and your joy might be complete. This is my command, that you love one another. Here we go. He's giving us a command. Love one another. It's pretty simple, isn't it? Is your behaviour towards your brothers and sisters, because let's face it, this is the foundation of this assembly, this fellowship. It's just this family. People have come in and come out, but it's just our family to start with. 2 families actually, but a family in Yahusha. Are we behaving this command? Love one another. Gauge the words that come out of your mouth. Gauge the looks on your face. Gauge your feelings and the thoughts you have for one another. Love one another as I have loved you. As I have loved you. That's a tall order, isn't it? No one has greater love than this, that one should lay down his life for his friends. He did that for us, didn't he? You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. No longer do I call you servants. This is the verse. No longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing. But I have called you friends. For all teachings which I've heard from my Father, I have made known to you. You did not choose me. I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit. That's a funny line, that one. Because we think we have the right to go in and out of the assembly, in and out of Yahusha. He goes, you didn't choose me. Who do you think you are? I've been here from the beginning. I created everything. You didn't choose me. I chose you. I put the seed in your heart. I put the calling. I birthed you into this family even, you know. Why can't we be a normal family and do normal things and da-da-da-da? Because he chose us. Yeah? So stick it. He chose us. And it's a wonderful calling. It's a higher calling than any of the filth that's going on out there. You didn't choose me. I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit. Behave yourself a certain way. And that your fruit, your behaviour, should endure. So that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he might give you. He knows the desires of our hearts in every single area of life. And if we follow him and we're obedient to him, we'll see them come to fruition. These words I command you so that you love one another. If the world hates you, felt any hate from the world? Through friends, family, relatives, felt any hate from the world? I have. If, Yahusha knows all this, he's written it down. Look, if the world hates you, don't worry. Just know that it hated me before you. You didn't call me. I called you. I was here first. They hated me first. What did they do to him? They killed him. If the world hates you, the world hated me before you. If you were of the world would love its own. Just want normal friendships. I just want this. I just want that. Well, go out in the world. They'll love you because the world loves its own. Demons aren't afraid of the world. They already own it all. Satan owns everything out there. If you were of the world would love its own, wouldn't it? But you are not of the world. But I chose you out of the world. And for that reason, the world hates you. Can you handle the world hating you? Can you handle a bit of hate from the world? The more effective you are, the more hate you'll get. If you're not getting any hate from the world, check your effectiveness. If you're not of the world, I chose you out of the world. For that reason the world hates you. Remember the word that I said to you, a servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they'll persecute you too. If they had guarded my word, they would guard yours too. If they paid attention to what Yahusha said and loved it, they'd be paying attention to what we said, wouldn't they? But they don't. But all this they shall do to you because of my name. Even Christians and Muslims and all the other religions out there don't suffer what we will suffer because of what? His name. Demons shudder at his name because they don't know him who sent me. They don't know him. Even those these days that are peddling his name. 𝗪𝗔𝗓 and Messianics, they don't really know who he is and they don't know who sent me. If I had not come and spoken to them, they would have no... If I had not come and spoken to them, they would have no sin. But now they have no excuse for their sin. Because who did he come for? The lost sheep. He came for the Jews first. And they heard his message, and what do they do? Now they have no excuse for their sin. He who hates me hates my Father as well. What's the opposite to hate? So you might say, I don't hate Yahusha. Well, do you love him? Do you show it? Do you behave it? Because there's only two, love or hate. If I did not do among them the works which no one else did, they would have no sin. But now they have both seen and have hated both me and my Father. Hated. They killed him. But that the word might be concluded, which was written in their Torah, they hated me without a cause. They had no cause to hate him, did they? He did nothing wrong to them. He loved them. He actually healed the majority of them, kicked out all the demons from their towns. The religious folk, the Jews, hated him. And when the Helper comes, whom I will send to you from the Father, the Spirit of truth, who comes from the Father, he will bear witness of me. But you also bear witness, because you have been with me from the beginning. Understand how this guides us into a close friendship with Yahusha? To be in the vine? Look at your behaviour, because here comes the clanger. There's a clanger. After discovering that Yahuah became Yahusha, we talked about that last week, didn't we? Yahuah, like a butterfly. He metamorphed into a butterfly. Yahuah became Yahusha, walked on this earth, did things that no one else could do, gave us new commandments, which he wants us to behave. After this, our whole existence on this earth is to have the behaviour of his commandments in our lives. What's the meaning of life? I don't know why I was born. Why am I on this earth? Our whole existence on this earth is to have the behaviour of his commandments in our lives. That's the purpose for your life. When we achieve this goal, he said, we are called his friends. Is a friendship with him worth 100 friends out in the world? Well, that's the right answer. But is that how you feel day to day? Because he says, if you are a friend of the world, you are my enemy. When we achieve this goal, behaving his commandments, he said we are called his friends. So we can see by the above scriptures that we just read and knowledge that Yahusha has been with us all along, hasn't he? He's been with us all along, even when we didn't know who he was. After his ministry, he went to heaven, took his rightful place on the throne. So we can see that Yahuah left his throne to become Yahusha, a man in the flesh. And the morphing of Yahuah into this flesh was called Yahusha. Mission complete. The morphing of Yahuah into this flesh was called Yahusha, a new created being. Remember? A new species with supernatural powers. When we understand this process that Yahuah did and the things Yahusha explained about the Father being in him and he is in the Father and that they are one, when we understand all that, it helps us to realize that Yahuah became Yahusha, who is now Elohim on the throne. Can you see that? There's only one. He's sitting on the throne. He is orchestrating everything in the world today because he said, all power and authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. So all the good things, the bad things, the chaos, the terror, everything in the world, he's allowing, isn't he? He's orchestrating everything. If you want to play a bigger role in his supernatural plan, who's it up to? You. Because he says, like, if a child comes up to his father and says, give me bread, I'm hungry, are you going to give him a snake? No. Well, then why would he, as our master, give us something that's not good for us? If we ask, we receive. Why don't you get stuff? Why don't you receive? Because you don't ask. Why don't things happen for you? You don't ask, he says. It helps us to realize when we understand what he did, it helps us to realize that Yahuah became Yahusha and he's now Elohim on the throne. Once we have digested and exercised this knowledge of who he is and what he did, we realize that this Yahusha, Elohim, wants us to be his friend. That's a close relationship, isn't it? A friendship? Not just a master and a servant. He wants us to be his friend. How supernatural, how crushing, how amazing. 2,000 years ago he gave us this instruction. He wants us to be his friend. Did you know he knows how many hairs there are on your head? How many cells there are in your body? He knows all these things because he designed you and he created you. He doesn't just want to be some cosmic deep voice up in the sky to you. He wants to be in every thought you have. Check your thoughts, he says. Are they good? Are they evil? Are they demons? Are they me? Check your thoughts. He wants to be talking to us all the time. He wants to be our friend. After everything we've been and done, after the smear of disgusting filth we've all been and done in our lives, even just our thoughts, let alone our actual life and behaviour and lifestyle, after everything we've been and done, his love humbles us, shatters us to be called his friend. We feel we are so undeserving to take on this privilege. But he said, no, I have paid the price for this love. So walk in it with dignity and love. Do you really think he wants us to feel unworthy when he hung on the stake for almost a whole day and bled out his precious blood he took back to heaven with him, paid the price for us to not be under the boot of demons and Satan? Do you think he wants us to be floundering? Oh, I don't know if he really loves me. I don't know. Do you think he wants it? Or does he want a close friendship after everything we've been and done? He's paid the price. So walk in it with dignity and love. Not up yourself. Dignity. Previously, this is Christopher wrote this, previously I used to pray to Yahusha to get to the Father. We used to say things like, Father, I come to you in the name of Yahusha. Because he said, when you pray to me, come, this is how you get to the Father, through me. Previously, I used to pray to Yahusha to get to the Father. But now, with this understanding of who Yahusha is, I really think he doesn't want us to call him Father anymore. It's been a hard switch over to go straight to Yahusha, my friend. From Yahuah, our Father, Father, please this, Father, please that, to Yahusha, my friend. Not calling him Father, but realizing now that I am his friend. And I'm taking on this relationship most seriously. Can you see what Yahusha's offering you tonight that you couldn't see before? This message blew me away. He wants to be my friend. No matter what I've done and said and been and acted out and behaved, he wants to be my friend. Not calling him Father, but realizing now that I am his friend. Anything that comes against that, you get rid of. No. He's called me, chosen me. I am his friend. I know who I am. You get lost. Get rid of those thoughts. I am taking this relationship most seriously. It's the one relationship you know that will never let you down. Parents, as much as they may try, will let you down. Spouses, brothers, sisters, everything, as much as they might try, will let you down. This is the one friendship that will never let you down. I want to do what he did for others in my daily walk. Christopher said this. I want to do what he did for others in my daily walk. I want to have that man-to-man relationship as a friend because Yahusha is alive. He's just as alive today as he was back then teaching his disciples. He's alive. Do you want to have that close relationship with him as his friend? It's been a bit difficult adjusting my mindset to not calling him Father anymore. Sometimes I slip here and there, but to approach him as friend is my complete desire, that he is pleased with my behaviour. What a delight and what a privilege. He wants us all as friends, not slaves. Why? The reason being that we are his offspring, his children. He doesn't want us to feel like slaves, does he? He wants us to be his friends, his children. Lots of love and blessings on your journey in becoming Yahusha's friend. Do you feel touched in the heart tonight by this message? I did. I want to be Yahusha's friend because I know he will never let me down. If you would like to be Yahusha's friend and you would like to commit to a friendship with Yahusha, I don't have any music tonight, come down and we will pray with you. If this message has touched your heart, come down and talk to him. Recommit to him because he's here as your friend. Hallelujah. I'd like to pray. Yahusha, I'm so sorry I didn't know this relationship like I know it now. I didn't see it. What you're offering. I always thought it was a master and a servant relationship. I'm sorry for my anger. I'm sorry I've put a lot of that anger into my family over the years. Through the book the boys wrote and through all the other movements that have happened, I can see in many ways the train wreck that has happened to my family over the last few years, but I can also see that you are drawing everybody closer and your ways are not our ways. You do things in very bizarre, often to us slow moving ways, but I trust that you have everybody in your hand. Everybody is having an experience with you in some way or another, and I can see that. And I thank you so much for protecting my family no matter what state they're in. I thank you that you are offering this special friendship to all of us and that you want to draw so close to us. I'm sorry that I haven't believed in you like this. I'm sorry that I wanted my own way so many times. Copying the world, copying religion, copying all other nonsense out there instead of this supernatural experience with you. This love that you offer is just so amazing. Tonight, Yahusha, just remind us as we go into our week that you are there in every thought. And that if we have one thought against our husbands, wives, sisters, brothers, children, if we have one thing against each other, that's not you, that's demons, that's Satan among us. And we need to check our thoughts and get rid of them and not behave in such manic, disgusting ways in your presence. Tonight I close this meeting in the name of our wonderful friend, our wonderful bridegroom, Yahusha Messiah. Give us all a strong week drawing closer to you. We love you so much, Yahusha. So be it. Thank you for joining us, brothers and sisters. I hope you've taken this word close to your heart because Yahusha is our Elohim and he wants to be your friend. So be it. That's it, guys.